launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Friday, June 18th, 2021. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. Once again, we have another great show lined up for you today, starting with the brand new list of invites for the Arnold Classic that were released a few days ago. Beside the fact that seeing the list right in front of us really hammered home the idea that this is real now, one of the other things that jumped off the page to me was the depth of this lineup. In pretty much every division, we have current champions coming back to defend their titles, former champions trying to win their titles back, and 5 or 6 other athletes who could be a serious threat to win the whole goddamn thing. This is basically bodybuilding's version of a winner-take-all conference championship game that sets the stage for the big final showdown less than a month later. So buckle up, because things are about to get wild. If you didn't catch yesterday's show, we did a segment on Sergio Oliva Jr.'s decision to pull out of the Chicago Pro. But the thing we didn't talk about, that you all know now, was that he had already confirmed that he was planning to compete at the Arnold a few months later, even though the official invite list hadn't been released yet. People might not remember this because it feels like it was 100 years ago now. But Sergio actually placed 5th in the Arnold last year behind William Bonac, Dexter Jackson, Big Ramy, and Steve Kuklo, which should tell you how good he must have been in that top group. And considering the fact that 2 of those 4 names I just mentioned aren't competing this year, on paper, that makes him a top 3 contender. And I don't think we can talk about potential winners without mentioning his name in the conversation. Before I wrap up the Arnold coverage for today, I want to highlight one more athlete who deserves some recognition, Seung Chul Lee. We haven't talked about him before on this show, which is my fault because it's long overdue. Now, if you're staring at your screen trying to figure out why his name isn't ringing a bell, it's because he's only competed once in the IFBB. But it was at the Olympia last year where he actually placed 12th ahead of people who had a lot more coverage and name recognition heading into that show. I heard some rumors a few days ago about him potentially competing at the Tampa Pro, which could be huge in terms of boosting his profile, considering the other names we already know will be there. He's underappreciated and underrated, but I wouldn't bet against him being a sleeper at one of these big shows later this season. If any of you are going to be in the Dallas area this weekend, you might want to drop in and check out the Dallas Europa show. And if you get there early enough, you might be able to get a front row seat for Tony Tavares making his season debut in Classic Physique. I don't know if seeing his name on the Arnold invite adds more pressure or motivation, but from a fan's perspective, I do think it raises the bar to a certain extent. He caught a lot of people by surprise when he won the Savannah Pro last year, but that element of surprise is gone now. So if he's going to start building some real momentum heading into the big showcase at the Arnold, this is the perfect opportunity to do it. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.